Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back to the roaring 20s in Transport Fever 2 to a city that is changing drastically, and that is Carlton, right down here in one of the lower parts of the map, and we're growing past 600. With that, Carlton is one of the biggest cities right now on the continent, or on the map we could say. And yeah, it's still looking rather cozy, right? So we got some new vehicles, some people wear new clothes all of a sudden, right? We still have the older versions, and then we got the new versions available. And yeah, we want to do something here. We want to create our next big train system. And in this episode, we're also starting with airplanes because we have unlocked them. So exciting episode ahead, lots of new additions. Now for the train system, Carlton is part of a bigger city, well, cluster area, city area that we have here, right? So it's this area here that we have basically, and it's part of Birchwood, Amble, Wigan and Saxmundham over there. Saxmundham we've already grown quite nicely thanks to providing fuel to it, and Wigan we have grown already past 500 because we provide the tools and the fuel to it. So these would be optimal cities to connect with a train system, right? Don't you think so? Now the cool thing is we also don't have a train here right now going, which makes it very easy for us to build the first tracks. There we already have a train system, and I don't want to have train systems crossing each other too often because things get really complicated then after a while when trains take longer, and then they block each other. So the cool thing here is there's a tunnel where our big cargo train is leaving that area here. And I think this would be a great area where we can have our trains going through. Now, what we can see here is we got already a road system here where we deliver something to Amble, right? There's some trucks on it, and in this case here, that's a system that we are about to destroy now, for now, right? So I'm just gonna pause the game. Not too much damage should be done with that, I hope so. And we're basically just getting rid of that. I can't get rid of that because I think we do have some... Yeah, we have a vehicle on that. The rest of the vehicles, they just disappeared, right? And we're gonna make this cleaner so that a train system here and a road system here can exist next to each other. That would be the goal here for me right now. And with that out of the way, just remains the question, what kind of station and where do we want to have the station? I'm gonna go with a terminus station for this one. It makes sense for Carlton, honestly, because later on we can see that we might have a train going to the west here, but there's no train going right through, right? Because then we would have to cross all of this here. This is very nasty. And to the south, of course, we have the ocean. So terminus station makes perfect sense for this one. And the cool thing with the terminus station as well is that we can make this one really central, like so, right? And we can affect most of the city. So that's probably why Carlton left this spot available here for us, so that we can have a terminus station right here in the center. Now, before we build the station, we need to, yeah, kind of like do something with Carlton, unfortunately. So first of all, that is something we're gonna need for every bigger city, and the sooner we do it, the better, because it accelerates growth as well. We want to upgrade the roads here. The city itself is not gonna do that. This will, however, destroy all the buildings close to it, but they're gonna rebuild quickly again. We do now have the financial power of doing that, and I would like to add a main street now to Carlton, right? It's this one here that goes then basically through the center, and as you can see, we're just basically deleting everything close to that automatically, more or less, right? And this goes then all the way up here, so right through the heart of the city. I would also like to get rid of this road there again. Now with that out of the way, what we can do is we can finally add now a proper station to this area here. And as you can see, I'm gonna go with a big platform right away because the sooner we reserve the space, the better for us. And what I can also see right away when building this monster is that, yeah, we're gonna cut deep into the territory here. So Carlton has a bit of a hilly approach. It's a beautiful town, no doubt about that, and it's just gonna grow. It's definitely gonna grow all the way up here at some point, so doing this right now makes sense to me. Also, what we can see is the bus line is actually connected with the station. So in this case here, we can still use the old public transportation loop that we have here. We're also definitely going to change that at some point. Yeah, it's not looking super ideal here, but to me for now that's fine. And with that, we got the first station already. And when we're looking close at that, pretty sure we're going to have a tunnel there right away. No, okay. The game actually wants me to rather carve into the territory. Okay, now it's a tunnel, in fact, yes. This is definitely gonna go right into a tunnel system. Now here, we do have then our train. And the train goes then probably right to Amble and then to Wigan. Makes the most sense to me, right? Also, we have a pretty high... Oh, this is just going crazy. We have so many hills here. Oh, that's gonna be quite the work, honestly. Did not expect that, to have so much work here. Let's actually finish the highway here right away. We should be doing this, right? So we have it coming from Amble, I think it was. So somewhere here. Right, and then we're just moving that road as close to the water as possible, because I want to leave some space available then for my train. Oh, come on. Here we have the problem with the road that already exists. Right, this works. And then all the way down here into that system again. Alright, so there we got the highway system. Looks a bit cleaner now than before for sure. We actually don't need that road here at all. Right, so this one leads to, I don't know where, to the forestries over there that we don't need to connect right now. There's a sawmill, so this might be an opportunity for later if these industries still exist. Alright, so we lose some of them, right? So in this case, what I can do is I can send all of them back to the depot. Except the ones that are outside. We're gonna sell them. And then I'm basically just gonna reapply them to the road again. And there they are out again. Right, so this this route here should not take any damage. That's the carlton tools Wigan trade. And let's actually push another 2 vehicles on that again right away. Now this continues to work. Oh, wait. What's going on with you? You are not looking good. I would love for this to have a better way of doing it. I don't think there is. Either way, we need to get rid of all the trucks first and then build the road system, or we do it like this one right now. I'm just going to send them back home again and sell the remaining ones. Right, there you go. It should actually drop them off at the closest one. And there was the carlton tools. Alright, and off they go again on their track. So now this is working again as intended. Now we have the room for getting that train over. For this, we need to create now new stations. For Amble, of course, it makes the most sense to have a pass-through station. Gotta get rid of this road here again. And we're probably gonna add a... Actually, let's add a large street here right away, because at some point we're gonna need it anyway. That goes then over into this direction. And kind of connects them here again with the city road, right? This way. And with that out of the way, we can now make our passenger train somewhere here. The game, yeah, we could go with the massive station again. It is the safest way of doing this, right? Because otherwise we need to destroy the stations again afterwards, because there is no real upgrade mode available. So I'm just gonna make sure that we have this as far... look at that. The terrain just goes bonkers here. I probably need to have it somewhere here. Right? I mean, Amble is also gonna grow. It's already growing nicely right now. And then we're gonna have Wigan. For Wigan, I hope that we can work with a tunnel here. That would be ideal. And for Wigan, I'm also gonna say that gonna get rid of that one here. It will grow again once we unpause the game. And then we could have our main station here somewhere, right? So this makes also sense to me. And it will also cut into the whole thing. Let's also upgrade the road next to it right away to a bigger one. That's a too big one. Gonna go with that one. And we could also upgrade the town center of Wigan already with the main road system. Right, let's get the painful stuff out of the way right now, so we don't need to worry about that again later. Okay, so there we move it down. And with that, also Wigan has its main road system. And now we can add then a nice train station to that. I could push this one even further into the center, right? No problem. I could delete all of that. It will regrow quickly. But I think it's not going to be super necessary. So let's build me that station somewhere here. And as you also can see, once again, crazy terraforming. There's nothing else that we can do here. It's just the elevation is so crazy. I mean, Saxmundham. All right, if we can squeeze it through here, we could also have it here, no problem. All right, I think I like this more. There's still the copper mine. This should disappear at some point. It's cut off, right? There's also no road connection, so this will definitely disappear at some point, and the city can then grow. So let's get rid of that solution there. And this one's looking a bit cleaner now, with then here outbound my station. And then we need Saxmundheim still. Saxmundheim definitely also gets a pass-through station. The question here once again is, where do we want to have it? There's going to be then Lotus and Newcastle down the road. So Saxmundheim actually has a great connection to a lot of cities then, right? So I think this one here is a safe bet for doing this. So once again, we need to get rid of the roads here. And once again, I'm also going to upgrade a nice main road here for that city. And once again, the problem here is terrain. Building the station here would look just absolutely stupid, right? There's no denying that. So I need to find another solution to that. This one here would be a bit of a steep angle there to the other main station that we have. So that is something I can't do. But I could have it a bit further outside here. The terrain looks rather flat here. And what we can do is we can go in different directions then, right, to different cities. And we could also go and build a tunnel system, honestly. For this, I need to interrupt the city's main connection right now. Very dangerous, so I rather pause the game as we do this. And then we have our main road system that still goes down here somewhere and then makes that connection going here, more or less, right? So that city is connected again. And I will also want to have a main road here. And then a road going this way down there. Okay, that looks fine to me. And here we have then that connection again. And bear in mind, the city will grow all around that, right? Quite automatically. The game is rather flexible on this part. So with that, we can have now our main station somewhere here. And we will definitely need to have a public transportation then attached to it, right? For Saxmundheim main station. Now comes the challenge of connecting all of this. We have then our main station here where my trains can go outside or outbound from Amble. They need to go then here. So I think we could even have my first tracks created here next to each other with the top speed going, right? And then at some point here, we need to make that curve. So let's just see what the game proposes. If I'm going with this platform here, it should create me a tunnel or something. Actually, that would be a bridge. Just see. Always need to make sure that we maintain that top speed. Okay, with a new bridge, this actually works without a tunnel. This one here is looking a bit strange, so we're gonna get rid of that road here, and we're just gonna make a nice bridge. So this one goes up. Should be able to make a bridge here. I think up once again. Then we're just basically going up that again. The thing is now also that this one looks a bit nasty, right? So we're just gonna get rid of that system here again. What a beautiful sound. Just doesn't look clean. There you go. With a new bridge, this looks much better now than before, cleaner. And in that case here, this one is a road that we're gonna upgrade then later down the road. Yeah, with that, we continue now with the tracks that are going up all the way to Amble. There you go. Now the connection has been established. The highway, we need to go above the tracks there for a short time, and then it goes into Amble. There might be a bit of an incline here or a rise, right? But it should be fine as it is. The next step is actually much easier. There was just a tunnel to dig through that mountain here, and with that we're getting right into Wigan connection. This is almost a straight line now. despite all the elevations that we have around here. And also that last step here cost me another 3 million just for track number 1 to establish. With that we have a tunnel here once again because there's a huge hill as we push towards Saxmundham. And yeah, it's definitely going up here then. I'm using the middle platform here for Saxmundham because on the left I would like to use then another system going here to those cities, and on the right for the platforms I would like to use then these cities here, right? So this will be a pretty big station actually. Before this whole thing gets too theoretical, let's actually implement the train already. I'm using the most powerful locomotive that we have right now, because this is gonna take quite some power here, and we're also gonna go with a capacity of, well, 112 right now. 10 million only, that's okay, and it's going from Carlton to Saxmundham, and with that we got the next train established. That was quite a lot of work actually to get one of these trains out, and it just shows you how much work you need to put in, right, to get this going. But once the tracks have been established, most of the work is done. Now we can just enjoy our trains and also the growth of our cities. I will definitely need to add a parallel track system here soon, but for now it's gonna work with just one train. And for example in Carlton, around the main city, look at how many buildings already pop up there again. So this is growing rather quickly. And we could also, once again, dedicate a bit of energy here into city building itself by finishing that road here. It's gonna be a smaller one though, this one. Right, and then the city will just play some other roads in here again. And there's the train, leaving for the first time. And of course it's self-explanatory that I've created bus lines now in all of these cities to connect the train stations with the center. Really didn't take long, and this train is already full. There's 112 passengers on it. It's not profitable yet, but I have a feeling that it's gonna be profitable pretty soon. So that is the main station Carlton as it leaves, right? And then we have now the train going in both directions via Wigan and via Carlton, and there's the people waiting then for this. And all of these cities are growing because of that. Public transportation takes a massive boost. As the train is leaving Saxmundham, well, it's also full already and profitable. So we could pretty soon work on a second train going on this route. And there's the latest passengers coming out. Going right from my bus station, taking the bus, and also adding to the profit. More skyscrapers appear also now here in Saxmundham as the city is growing, thanks to having a nice boost there in public transportation. Now back to the Haywood Leeds train route. Here we actually have a problem. That is that this train is not profitable because it is never really full. What's going on here? The reason is actually pretty simple. The demand is pretty high for both the cities to interchange with each other. The problem is getting to the train station is not possible because there's so many people waiting at the bus stations, at this one here especially here, trying to get to the central station, that yeah, my buses can't keep up. Look at, there's 61 waiting right now at the train station itself for leaving. This is a problem that I cannot really fix that much right now. I'm gonna add a bunch more buses to the public transportation system. We could also work on our first tram system in Haywood. And we can actually do this quite simple because we have also unlocked trams, and that means I can now upgrade roads with a tram track on top of that. And with that, we could potentially push them. Yeah, trams definitely have more throughput, right? So you can have more people squeezed into one cart. What I can see is already there's so much traffic in Haywood. Not entirely sure. We're gonna go with a 4-lane major street, probably pushing all the way through Haywood here. Here, this one's not possible for some strange reasons. There's nothing really in the way that would block it, honestly. Seriously, this is really strange. Even by deleting the road, I cannot build anything here. We can build it up to this point, but making a connection is not possible. Weird. So I'm actually just gonna delete the whole neighborhood there, and we're creating this main road that pushes through. I also just realized that Haywood does not have a main road yet. So it's high time that we create this one, going all the way through the city center, all the way here to the edge of it, and also here, all the way along the main station that we have here. And for the tram, I think we do construct then a smaller loop here, where it can go around again. And for the tram, I'm actually using now stations on both sides of the street, because I think this is just then much cleaner as well, and also more efficient down the road as, yeah, density just basically goes up. Let's create our first tram route now. In Haywood it is. And let's just see what kind of trams we have available. The horse-drawn streetcar, I'm so happy that we don't have to use this anymore. We got the CE22. What is that? A 2-axle streetcar from Switzerland. And this one can travel 40 kilometers. Yeah, it's really, you know, there's no option here really. It's the one that we go for. Of course, it also has the highest capacity, 22. Let's go and have both of them assigned here right away. Oh, beautiful. So detailed. Beautiful, really. And yeah, they're hopefully gonna revolutionize my public transportation here once again. They're also much quieter than a bus, so the idea could be to completely get rid of the buses then here down the road. And of course they only really work on 4 lanes, because they have to stop constantly, right, in order to not congest the traffic. And there's the same thing happening now for Leeds. Also gets its own tram system. And yeah, I forgot how big the city is at this point. So this is, I think, my longest tram route right now. Also going through the whole center there. Main road, then all the way to the train station. And once again, it's just crazy how fast those cities grow then once you add something new to it. Like that public transportation now. Like the trams. And yeah, they're gonna get full really quickly. I can see that already. Alright, and let's continue with our train system and also our very first airfield now. Now, for that airfield, I have designated this location here to it. It's not super ideal because it's not the flattest terrain, so building something here will be a bit tricky. We do have this road here that, yeah, really doesn't serve any purpose. There's also no traffic on this road. It goes where exactly? Into those fields there, but no one is using those fields. By the way, that's a lot of fields. There are 4 fields here and no food processing unit anywhere close except this one. Yeah, could be an opportunity for something at some point using trains and whatnot. We'll just see. Anyway, we do have our situation here then. As you can see, this is gonna be a bit tricky, right? So I'm gonna have it as close to the lake there as possible, because only this makes really sense to me. And we also gotta make it so that, yeah, it's not flying right over the city and not right over the mountains. So I think for starters, we can have our first airfield somewhere here. It's gonna be a passenger transportation system right beside the lake. And we can, of course, also add then a cargo terminal to this one here to make it possible. For this airfield, we only have one runway available right now, nothing else we can do. Now, the reason why I'm building this here is because it's close to Haywood and Leeds, right? And it's, I think, the best possible location that we have. Building the airfield here would block Haywood from developing into this area at some point. Here, we got unfortunate industry that I cannot delete, and that would once again also block Haywood. This is too far away again from Leeds. So, I mean, this is also looking like a very good area for an airfield. Perhaps we move it at some point, I have no idea, but right now I think this is the best location. Also, Camborne is not that far away as well, a growing city that we now connect with our passenger transportation. Now, this is something I would like to do right away, and for that, yeah, we need to once again also fiddle around a bit with the poor city's street layout. And that's this one here. And I'm just gonna make this one quick and dirty, and I'm gonna say we make a passenger once again a level 7 one or 7 track, so that we get a big terminal out of that right away. I'm gonna place it then here beside that street. And you know what, we can actually, if I want to, also just get rid of this one here, right, to not make it so big of a station, because they look a bit oversized for the cities that we have. Alright, so just getting rid of 2 platforms there, and their trains and the tracks makes it a bit smaller, and we can still maintain that large terminal then for that as well. This one continues, of course, onwards then to cities that we have over here, right? And it could even go then to York. But for now, we have then here our system that goes now from here, and we're probably once again gonna use... since we go there, I might actually use the middle track again, honestly, right? Because I'm not entirely sure how many more trains we have. We can always change this around rather easily later down the road. I think we'll need to get very close there to the lake then. Like so. And here, we're coming out of Leeds. Here. Very good. This can maintain top speeds. That's the important thing. And then there we have the oil, unfortunately. Much cleaner. And then I'm actually just gonna make this connection right away. And once again, really the safest way of doing this is just connecting the endpoints with each other right away and let the game decide what is the optimal route. Let's also use the modern bridge again. And as we can see, because of the elevation, we're gonna need a bridge here, but this looks like a very straight path then through that forest. Can't be helped. And then right over there. Yes, let's actually do this right away. 1.2 million. And I'm gonna have it so that we build the second one as well right away, because I want to have this one in parallel going, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna need that soon. So let's start here. And then I just need to draw this along the first line to get the full parallel system out. Should be only a fraction of the cost, as we already made most of the landscaping. I've also added a second track right away to the Leeds Haywood area, and we can now work with waypoints here once again that I can have on both sides, so that I can determine in which direction to go between the two cities there, right? So that we have already everything here then set up for 2 trains. By the way, here we still need to have this one coming together. Should be possible to have this on a bridge. That's not possible, it seems. And there it is running now from Haywood to Camborne, and then via Leeds back again to Haywood using its respective tracks. Platform 2 in Leeds on its way to Camborne, and platform 1 on its way back to Haywood. Camborne also receives the upgrade, if it wants it or not. That is the main road upgrade. By the way, this is looking like a very cohesive city there with the buildings. Looks very orderly. The main road goes to the station here, and then we're probably going into a smaller one again and turn around here, right? And then this one goes up here and turns around. And this was already enough to push camborne towards 400, and with that we have also the machine parts here as a new good coming in. They should distribute themselves, so that's gonna spread up. And look at that, there's already 25 people waiting for that first train here, even though we just created that route. So I'm pretty sure there's gonna be lots of traffic here. Now with that out of the way, let's have a look at my airfield now, because that is actually part of that whole system here. First of all, we got this road here that connects this oil refinery with the city, and let's use this road now too to connect the city with the airport. That's the first step that we need to do here. And it goes down here and then probably takes a nice turn here towards that airport. Let's build the road here first. Gotta make sure that we have the connection here, as it is then leaving towards the city. We could have a connection here too with Haywood directly. That could be profitable as well for the city. Now, with that out of the way, we still need an airport, a train station now, because I also want to have a train going to the airport from Leeds, and that is going to be pretty important. So let's have this one. Let's just see, where's my tracks here? There's my single track, right? You don't need anything else here, because Leeds is in a very bad position when it comes to trains. You know, we have a city here. We got the city over there, York, but that is on the other side of the city, right? And then here we got a mountain area where there are no cities. So having any other trains going away from Leeds is very unlikely to me at this point. It's just, the location is just too bad for the city, honestly. It's just profiting from being in the center between major cities, right? But the location itself otherwise is not very good for trains. So we can have our tracks then here, and this is going to be the airport shuttle that I want to implement here. Could be tricky. Let's just check it out. We do need to have a good angle here, actually. I could go with this, and it also just needs one track, right? Because there's not going to be that much more. This could be, though, way too steep. Let's just check it out. 81. Let's have a look at that. 80, all right. It never needs the absolute top speed, right? But this is fine, right? So we got top speed here in the center, and at the end and the beginning, it's a bit lower, but that's absolutely fine. And this is our airport shuttle route. And let's just also get us... Can we have a train depot here? Yes, you can. Very good. At the end of this. And with that, we just have now our train going here. And this is just Leeds Airport, right? So we're just going to call it this way. And it's just going to be a tiny train, really. Nothing too fancy, nothing too expensive. And we don't have that many options. So I could actually go with this one. But, I mean, yeah, just to get demand cooking, you know? I could go with this one here, 1882. Fantastic. And let's have one going for it, right? Why not? We can afford it. The first airport train route in the world. There it is. The problem is, of course, there are no planes at the moment. So we need to have a second airfield now. And of course, the second one is going to be in my carlton amble area. So here we have carlton already with 700 people. Amble, we got Birchwood not too far away, and we got Wigan. And they're also connected with trains already. So it makes sense to me. Once again, though, we have a bit of a problem here. And that is, as always, location. Look at that. No matter where I'm looking at around the city here, I do have extreme elevation. And finding a right spot here will be hard. So carlton actually falls completely flat. It's look at that. You can't have an airport like this. We could work towards the river. This makes sense. This is actually the case quite often, right? And we could make it like so. All right, look at that. Carlton actually has flat space over here. Now, that is an option. absolutely valid. The thing is though, I don't want to have the airport too close to the city because it creates a huge noise pollution. We are already down to -40 right now. But this looks far away, right? This looks far away and we connected with a bus or a tram system better. I like the idea of shuttles though, right? So a train going to the airport directly. And here we would connect then Amble and Carlton with the airport, which also makes sense. Okay, look at that. In the forest, right in the forest, we actually have enough flat terrain so it doesn't look too bad. Right? So I think this is my go-to here now. And I'm just placing it. I'm placing this one here. Causes some discomfort in the terrain. But otherwise, it's not looking so bad. Got some trees here that we definitely need to get rid of though. And with that, we would have an airport a bit, yeah, in the forest. Of course, there's more in full forest than disappearing here. This is kind of like the Frankfurt airport. That is also right next to a major forest. So in that case, looks pretty similar, but of course we gotta make sure here that the planes have no problem taking off and landing. There you go. And with that, we would have an airport now that connects two cities once again, because you really, really want to have volume going then for the airplanes. For the train itself, it's actually not a big deal. We can just make here, it's almost on the same level. This one here is a bit more tricky as we do need to extend the bridge that we have here into that system, right? So there is a bridge that is splitting apart then, more or less. So it's one bridge here as it continues. And then that bridge is kind of like splitting up into two, going in here now, right? So from above, it actually looks quite orderly. The only thing is now that we need to build that street here. And that street is probably going to go into a tunnel that we have then over there. So where's my highway? There's the one, right? So it's not a proper highway yet to Birchwood. I could upgrade it, of course, into a proper one. I mean, these randomly generated highways, of course, really don't look that good, right? So definitely gonna remodel that at some point. And this one then basically just, if we make the connection like this, it creates very strange shapes like this one here. So what we can do instead, make a tunnel, right? So this one kind of carves in. There you go. Something like that. And then comes out on the other side again. And this makes the airport connection then. So now we have all of this set up and you have this tunnel kind of like as it is entering then this train system there. Much better, I think, than before. And with that, this one looks a bit funky. This one definitely doesn't look real. Fortunately, we'll need to do this again. Yeah, we need to have the airport connection road a bit further up here. Otherwise, it would create some very nasty shapes there. And a bit later, our airport expresses are coming out again. In all their glory. Amble and Carlton connecting them to the airport. Now, there's one more thing that we still need to do, and that is create the airline itself. And that is Birchwood Airport. It's called. We probably will rename this one. And it goes then now all the way over here to Leeds Airport, right? Let's call it Airline 1 for now. I'm going to rename this one though soon. And now we just need to purchase an airplane. We got the Junkers F-13, the very first one, 1920, and it was developed in Germany after First World War and was the first all-metal aircraft for civil aviation. 3 people we can transport with that. Now, isn't that something to behold? And there it goes. 1920, what a glorious age. What a glorious time. And yeah, this is starting now to, of course, once again, cost me quite a bit in the beginning, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to ramp up. Now also the demand is, of course, being created so that people want to take my airport lines. And yeah, since this is a very long haul route, right, I'm expecting quite a bit of profit out of that, especially since it will be full both ways. But we need to wait on that. And 3 people is not exactly the world. That's of course the test flight now. So we'll just see if everything goes as planned. So far so good. Takeoff was successful. There are even the flaps you can see on the plane. And yeah, it's moving now with 127 kilometers an hour. Will be faster than that, of course. To Carlton. And actually 140 kilometers an hour is top speed for this one. And after I don't know how many minutes, it's coming now to the other end of the map. There's already Carlton coming up. Oh, that's gonna be steep. And touchdown successfully. Our first airline is now operational. And yeah, we can already work out something for our passenger transportation. So as we can see here, there are 350 people waiting for the train to Carlton. Saxe-Mundheim should not get the... Okay, it doesn't get the penalty for this, for the stations, because this is obviously not a good quality anymore. So it seems like station doesn't affect the city itself. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. We need to manage the line again, so we already have all of this going. But since there's going to be several trains now on this system, I do need to make sure that they're using this the right waypoints, right? So we're going Carlton, and then I'm going to add a new station here, and that's a waypoint, this one. Right, then it goes to Amble, and it's gonna say platform 1. Very good. Right, and then we continue, and I do have my waypoint somewhere here in the beginning. There you go. So that goes to Upper Wigan. What a lovely name. Platform 2. That's right. And then we're going back again, and here we'll definitely need to make a... perhaps we can achieve that before the tunnel happens. There you go. And then I can say Upper Wigan, go with the waypoint that we have over here. There you go. And now take the platform 2. Otherwise, this would not... We're... Oh no, we're not in Saxe-Mundheim. We're in Amble, actually. Saxe-Mundheim. What? Now it's working, changing the platform. And then you're taking your way from Upper Wigan to Amble again. This one probably also doesn't work. Ah, it does work. This time he took the right platform, platform 2, right? And then he moves from Amble all the way down to Carlton. But I still need to get my waypoint going here. This one. There you go. That he has the right waypoint, and then he moves into Carlton. Boy, what a train route, right? It's working out. By the way, this is deeply profitable here. 1 million. Where's the train going right now? Ah, leaving the station in Carlton. So I'm also just gonna say, plop, me a second one. And the second one is already coming. Leaving now the depot. Over here, once there is a free path. Would definitely also like to have this one here connected. There you go. Doesn't take long for the first 2 passengers to finish their route on the airplane with a bit of a profit there, 42,000. And since the maintenance cost of the Junker is rather low, you know, this is fine. Going 2/3 capacity actually could be profitable in both ways. At this point also, my other train route, the Haywood train route, is pretty full, right? So there it's coming in. I've also modernized my locomotive for this one. And the length of it is not enough at the moment, I think. Nope. So it's full now, and how many more are waiting? 200. And with that, we continue onwards in the next episode with more planes, more trains, and perhaps a few more ships. Stay tuned.